They say that the hardest thing that you go through will one day become somebody else's survival guide. And so this video is a completely unplanned, unscripted video about my experience with a dismissive avoidant. I did not know that at the time, but I did feel overwhelmed in a constant state of freeze and then being okay one minute, not being okay the next minute. And I thought, what is going on? I've got to overcome this. And one day I want to help people with this. And whatever the outcome is, I just want to tell people about this because this is the hardest thing of my life. And it really, really was the most overwhelming time. So I thought I'd do a video about my experience, and maybe some of you will be able to relate to it. Because one of the things that a lot of people say is that they did not spot it, they didn't realize that the person was dismissive avoidant, was avoidant at all. Everything seemed okay. And I felt that way too. And my therapist made me laugh. She said, someone asked her, "Are you scared of clowns?" And she said, "No, because at least they wear a bloody obvious mask." But avoidance don't, and you don't see it necessarily, especially if you've got your own filters and your own kind of unconscious agenda to feel wanted, feel chosen, repair the relationship with your parents from your childhood, all the unconscious stuff that's going on that was happening for me. My dismissive avoidant was, very, very, very similar to my dad. As much as they both hate that truth, it's true. There was so many things that I was trying to repair from my childhood. And when I first met my partner, I was overcome with this, wow, this chemistry, this like, I've never felt this before. And it hooked me in so quickly that I just could not forget, could not let go, couldn't understand why it wasn't working, why he didn't want to be with me at the time. And I just thought, what? How could you not want to be in this connection that's the best either of us have ever felt? And he was showing classic signs of dismissive avoidance straight away, like, I really like you, you're everything I've ever wanted, but I can't be with you. And I was like, oh, well, I'll convince him. I'll explain myself. I'll explain why he could. I'll make myself safer. I did all of that. I'm making this story much shorter than it is, okay? And just skip a few years of the chaos and go to the relationship that kind of really messed me up, which was, being with someone who I'd always wanted to be with. And then I just completely ignored so many signs. I ignored so many things where my body went, oh, I don't like that. Maybe it was the way he said something, the way he spoke. I wrote a song called Sometimes You're a Twat at the beginning of that relationship for a joke, but it wasn't a joke really. And he found it hilarious. He thought it was so funny because he wasn't actually taking it seriously. And maybe nor was I. I was trying to find a way to overcome the feelings of, oh, you're patronizing me, you're dismissing me, you're ignoring me, you're a bit of a twat, actually. And I wrote a song called Sometimes You're a Twat. Shall I post it? I've got it. I think I've got a video of it somewhere. I've never posted it because I thought, I don't know, I can't post that. But the thing is, it was one of these things where I was like, I was obviously thinking about it, writing about it at the beginning, but then kind of dismissing it myself, dismissing it, making light of it, having fun with it. Um, but really, I was hurting. I was like, I'm trying to explain how I feel and you're ignoring it. I don't like these little digs at me. I don't like the patronizing things. I don't like, that I'm trying to express something that matters to me and you're saying, oh, stop being so sensitive. All these things like really got to me, like got under my skin. And I just had this strange feeling because I was like also really enjoying the fact that we were together, also really enjoying the fact that, you know, we were finally together and that we were in a committed relationship. So that was very, very confusing because I'd felt like, it's kind of like the sunk cost fallacy where you fight so hard to get what you want and you finally get it and it's not what you want. And, I didn't want to believe that. I wanted to fight for it even more when I was in the relationship. This is why I always say, be careful what you wish for, because the fighting for your self-worth, the fighting for your, to be seen, the fighting for to be validated doesn't stop when when someone commits to you, even, it shows up in other ways. If you're not careful, you will abandon yourself, like I did, a million times, in a million ways, in a million days, and it was just little things that I just let go. And we were so closely together. There was amazing times, like things that I don't regret, holidays we had, like places we went, actual memories that I will cherish and that I'm grateful for, mixed in with times where I thought, that shouldn't have happened, that wasn't right, that that's not how you treat someone that you love. There's something going on there that I couldn't reconcile. And every time one of those little things or big things happened, I'd try to repair it. I'd try to talk about it. I'd try to like bring it to the front so that I could feel seen in my experience, and so that it felt like it mattered. But the thing is, with a dismissive avoidant, they will dismiss and avoid those things because it means taking accountability. And I just didn't recognize the dismissive avoidant thing because I was too busy thinking that I had relationship anxiety. I was too busy thinking that I had self-esteem issues, which I did, to stay in a situation like that. I was too busy thinking that there was something I wasn't explaining correctly. I was too busy doing courses on communication to try and explain it better. But actually, what I was missing the whole time was I didn't have a clue about my own needs. I didn't have a clue about my own feelings. I didn't have a clue. There was just so many things that I was just looking at him instead of looking at me. And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know how to look at me. I didn't know how to stop thinking that it was all his fault, because it wasn't. It was mine too. And the thing is that there really is no point like pointing the finger and blaming the other person, because it makes you powerless. And this is what I learned. I was becoming frustrated, angry, like not the person that I wanted to be. I was becoming like I was pulling away myself because I was like, feeling so hurt. I was basically protecting myself. So I started feeling like I was falling out of love with him, which scared me more, because I was like, oh my God, the very thing that's like got us here, the very thing that has like held us together, I'm losing it. And if I lose my love for him, if I lose my safety, my want, my desire for him, then this relationship surely is going to crumble, which it did, because I actually started choosing myself. I actually started saying no. And as soon as I started speaking up for myself and sort of, setting boundaries, the relationship got worse. It became more toxic than it was before. And he kept saying I'd changed. He kept saying that I changed, which kind of honestly I had, because I wasn't performing the way that I thought he wanted me to be in order to stay safe anymore. I was being honest about my feelings. I was being honest about what I needed. I was being honest about what I saw, and that was in conflict with him at the time, and that meant that we were in a complete clash. So my authentic self, even though it wasn't completely my authentic self, because my authentic self doesn't walk around angry and frustrated all the time. That was my authentic self stressed. That was my authentic self not being seen. That was what it looks like to be me when I'm not seen. That's what it looks like for lots of people to be when they're not seen, when they're not valued, when they're not appreciated. They will act in a particular way. And it became like that became the problem. So then I became the problem, if you see what I mean, to him. And it was the fact that I'd changed and he hasn't changed. But really, I was growing, I was learning, I was letting go of my coping strategies, and it was fucking scary. And what I've been saying a lot to my clients recently in one-to-one and group stuff is that my body reacted so strongly. Like there was such a physical reaction to me standing up for myself. There was such a physical reaction to the looming end of this relationship. There was such a physical reaction that made me feel like I constantly had feelings in my chest, constantly had like this shutdown, constantly had this like overwhelm in my head all the time, not connected to life, couldn't say hello to people, couldn't wear nice things. I'm wearing red today. I'm wearing red. Like that is a fucking huge leap from where I was before, where I'd just been jumpers and, anything that would hide me, but now I'm like, hey, I'm wearing red. Because I was so much more regulated and confident within myself a year on, or a year and a half, nearly 2 years since we broke up. I'm kind of rambling in this video, and I've got like 2% battery, so I haven't got very long. So maybe this will have to be a series of videos talking about this. But really, I just wanted to say this to sort of tell you that I've had this experience of being with somebody. I did not know that he was dismissive avoidant. I blamed myself for ages and tried to fix it. It made me lose myself. I wasn't writing, I wasn't creating, I wasn't laughing, I wasn't doing anything fun. I was literally just like more and more involved in my own desperation to fix this. It was like desperation to try and get back to a place where I loved him again, where I wanted to make it like, because I loved him and I still loved him. But the thing is, I didn't love myself. I didn't love me. I didn't love the way I was being. I hated the way the dynamic made me. It brought out the worst in me. And then I just spiraled into a worse and worse and worse place, perpetually disappointed with the way that it was. And I just wanted to make it work. I went to therapy. I booked therapy for both of us. And, he'd come, but then nothing would change. And he would feel like, oh, I went to therapy, so that's good, isn't it? Now, can you just go back to how you were when you loved me? And it was just so frustrating, because it was like, it's not that I wanted to be able to accept him, but I knew the only way to accept him would be to leave him. Essentially, I just thought I'd give you a brief experience of my experience, and we'll talk more about this if you want to talk about it to me. I so understand it. I've come such a long way since that time. I feel a million times better, so much more connected to myself. And now this is what I can help my clients to do. This experience has taught me so much, and it will teach you a lot too. So if you're there, I totally get it. I know how difficult it is. It feels like it's never going to get better, never going to change, but it does. It'll make you even stronger than you've ever been before. So I have to go. But if you want any more information about what I do, if you'd like one-to-one support, I've got 25% discount on my one-to-one at the moment. Use the discount code May25. And if you've got any questions, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.